Hi guys and girls. I'm Makancha Krishnani and she's my sister.
Varsha Krishnani.
And this podcast is called Krishnani-sisters.
Woo! Many of you all don't know, but Akanksha and I have been staying in different parts of the world. She in Italy, me in Spain, before in China, then she was in Spain. And I think we have reunited after a long time, maybe after 2 to 3 years, and
we're living together for the first time after 10 years or something.
Yes, I think 11.
Yeah,
11 years I think it has been. So it's something that we've always wanted to do. It's been a few years that we've tried to do this, but now that we are together in Fuerteventura, that is in Canary Islands in Spain, our main aim of having this podcast was just to
talk about the things that we feel like talking about. I think let's start with a little bit about where we come from, because every time you meet, the first question I get is like, oh, where are you from? Oh, India. Oh, that's interesting. The first thing is very exotic, or wow, I didn't think of that.
Hang on, before we go forward with this India part, what does exotic mean to you?
I think exotic is a word that shouldn't be used.
Why?
I think
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. But I feel like, using the word exotic and calling someone exotic is also like putting them into a stereotype. Like, oh, because you come from India, oh, you're exotic.
She puts all hot-looking men into exotic category as well. So she's really being a hypocrite over here. Oh my god, you look so exotic, Dee.
No, I mean, but I used to do that.
You used to do that. That's true.
But then someone called me out on that, and I was like, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense, because you're calling them exotic. You're again putting them into a kind of a space where you think they come from a particular part of the world, and that's why they're exotic. Maybe they look a certain kind, or they do a certain kind. Like, I had watched this TED Talk, the TED Talk that spoke about, instead of asking someone, where do you come from, you should ask them, where are you local? Why? Two things. Because you say, where are you local, you are actually getting into the details of where all you've been, because as we grow up in life, we go through so many different experiences.
Yes.
And we gather those experiences. So maybe when you ask where I'm from, I'll say India, and I'm very proud of coming from a place like India, which has changed me and given me everything that I am today. But also it also puts everyone into this bubble, into this sort of a space that, okay, you're from India, you have a particular accent, you are doing yes, and you're doing this, and you are probably doing, I don't know, you look a certain kind, or you speak a certain kind, or you eat a certain thing.
Yes.
So that's again, but maybe as we grow in life, maybe I work I do business like an American. I probably cook with the passion of an Italian, or make love like an Italian, or maybe I party like a Brit, I drink like a Spanish, or I have this culture of getting people together like an Indian. I don't know, but different things. So when you say they're very local, you are opening that thing a little further, right? But I also feel you define your birthplace and not the other way around, which is something, as you grow in life, you are not defined by where you come from, but you define where you come from. It's the other way around for me. I'm going to put this I think we're going to put this in the YouTube link who did the TED Talk, because I can't remember her name right now, but it's a very, very cool TED Talk that I've watched.
Talking about origins, I think that we have been through these different altibacos, these different ups and downs, and different locations, and different cultures, and different expectations as well of the places and what we have had from each of the places. So yeah, I completely agree with you. And I myself don't feel that I come from a particular place. I think that I think of myself as a more fluid person who adapts like a nomad to any place with the culture, the geography, the people, and also the phase of your life. When I was probably in my 20s, living in Spain, I had a different understanding of where I come from and where I am.
Absolutely.
Like, what's my representation? Oh, I'm from India. Oh, I do this. But over the years, after traveling and living across like maybe 18 different industries, from working in like films to production to festivals to diamonds, traveling from China to Spain to UK and working in these different countries where people do ask you where you come from and they do have these stereotypes about you being from India. I think over the time, instead of them saying, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm embarrassed or proud of being an Indian. It's just, why give this label?
Yeah.
Why to define me, my work, or just put a label of what do you expect from me just because I come from that part? So I think over the years, being who you are, and like, as you mentioned, like, I can party like a Brit. I'm not really sure the bits.
Drink like a
party like a Spanish.
That was, yeah. Other way around. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, I mean, different places, like, put a different layer onto you to make this little personality that turns out to be the great personality that we call individualism or individualistic personality. So I think living over here in Fuerteventura, it's been really very nice because here we have people from probably 200 different places, 200 different nations of the world, 200 different nationalities, and here everyone is
just fluid. Like
fluid.
You just go with the flow, and yeah, I think that's what's really changed me in these past few months, because I've always lived in a city, like be it Bombay or Madrid or Rome or like any of these big crazy cities, and then when I lived in Treviso, in the small town in Italy, that's when I realized like, oh, what does it feel like to live in a really, really small town? And at first I was very scared. I'm like, will I be able to do it, to go to the same 5 cafes, to go to meet the same 30 people? Or I don't know, maybe I'll get to meet more people. But then after I did that residency at Fabrica in Treviso, and it was this small town, and I loved it so much. And I think that gave me a little training into like, how beautiful it is to live in a small space as well. Because there's this whole perception that if you want to get things done, you gotta be in the city.
Oh no,
you gotta get things moving in the city. But I feel like there's so much that you can do even on an island like Fuerteventura. Like, the possibilities are insane. It's a small island but big reach.
Yes. I mean, the people who don't know, like, we come from Bombay. Like, Bombay is a huge city. Its population is about 27 million people. Like, the population of this island is probably in our neighborhood,
Yeah.
literally. So it's the whole perception of like even doing things, and I mean, I'm saying in terms of doing things because we run 2 companies which are like related to different brands in tourism and travel, in destination management for the island. So when I speak about these numbers, when I give them examples that in India, like, we did this campaign and they were like about like 40 lakhs or like these many million people. They were like, whoa, because I mean, the numbers are so gigantic over there, but it's completely different. But like what Akanksha is saying is like, great things can happen in small islands as well. Like, I personally think that I can't be living in a city anymore. When I used to live in a city, and I think that happens to most of the city people, is that when we live in cities, and then we go to these small towns, especially like in India, people, like the people who come from cities look down upon.
Well, that's
something we'll speak about.
That's a whole episode altogether.
Exactly.
Because when you speak about India, you speak about casteism, you speak about classism, you speak about this whole, umbrella that comes with that heavy weight of
which is okay for people, like, it's just something that people take it like, oh, it's just something normal. But anyways, we'll speak about that later. I mean, when you look at India, like, I mean, people from big cities like think about like, oh, you come from small city, you don't have so many opportunities. Or
but people from Bombay, Delhi usually say
it's Bombay, Delhi.
Yeah,
it's Bombay, Delhi. Yes,
it's the elite class of Bombay, Delhi. But I don't know, maybe things are changing now.
I really hope so. But like, coming back to city versus small places, like, I don't think that we could live, at least me, I couldn't live in a city anymore because I don't want to be in that whole competitive environment anymore, that, like, who's doing this, who's doing that, seeing like that whole crowd of, I mean, it's really energetic.
It's great,
It's very
yeah.
exciting. I'm not sure if that's the vibe anymore. And I really believe that right now, like, the world has evolved so much after COVID. Like, people have like spent 2 years inside their homes, so
Yeah.
even the perception of work from whatever is completely different. But I think today you can be in any part of the world and be and live a
I
life
mean,
that you actually
People are
want.
working remotely out of Fuerteventura. There are like so many digital nomads who like working out of here and like working out of here and living in like different countries but working out of here, running the office out of here.
Yes,
So
yes.
like the whole concept of living in a big city to get your dreams fulfilled is great. But I think you can do it from anywhere, you can even do it from your house, you can even do it from anywhere. So maybe since this is the first episode, the first podcast, we want to speak a little bit about India. India as a country, India as the mother, India as everything. India as the country you say that you come from, and then all the different reactions that you get when you say that. Growing up in India, what was it like growing up in India? What is India? What was India? What is India becoming? What is the future of India? Let's say.
Okay, and what is India for you? Like, for me, India is, I mean, look, every time, like, whenever I go back to India, like, our parents, our mother, she's like, I mean, we believe in India, but she's like a religious Indian, all right? Like, she's religiously, like, like, my country, my patriotism, which is beautiful. And many times, like, my friends have asked me in my school, in our school, that, hey, aren't you, like, proud to be an Indian? Because that's what we are taught in school. I'm an Indian, I'm proud to be an Indian, I'm proud of my heritage, I'm proud of my
All Indians are my brothers and sisters.
All Indians are my brothers and sisters. And I'm sorry, but when I go to India, one of the reasons that I can't stay in India is the collective classism that happens everywhere, including from our families, including from
our very own family, our very own friends. Like we come from what you would call in India as a normal middle class family.
Yes.
And growing up, like, maybe we I guess from school, we always saw that from school while growing up within the friend circles, within the joint families. Like, even though we come from a nuclear family, but we do have a very big extended family.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, when I was in India last, simple, like, little things, like you see it in conversations which are like normal conversations, but the class is there sitting on the table.
Yes.
With you.
Yes.
And you can see it. You can feel
see
it.
it. You can see it across everything. You can see it across your education. You can see it across what school you go to. You can see across what are your prospects in life. You can see across what shoes are you wearing. You can see across what car have you bought this week and what car are you going to buy next month. Like, I mean, because if you're well off, and what kind of car you have never bought as well, that also comes across with a big judgment.
Yeah.
So that's India. Like, the first thing that I don't really like, which I'm not really proud about, is this collective open classism. That everybody's okay about.
Yes, then comes like chauvinism, then comes like, this whole collective brigade of men who just want to always make you realize that you are the woman in the room.
Yes.
But, in two ways.
That's, again, very, very India. I mean, India is, I think when women like it to be a very patriarchal society, like, I mean, I understand that, like,
I mean, yeah, like, Karvachauth, for example,
it's nice.
It's nice. It's beautiful. But I don't know if I'll get married, and if I do get married, I don't think I'll be doing that, because I feel maybe, but I can't speak for everyone. Because what are you putting Karvachauth for? You are sustaining the patriarchal society. You are fasting for a husband who is probably, I don't know, cheating on you, or is like,
or not cheating on you, cheating on you. But the thing is, what her point over here is that what she's trying to say is, it's always a woman who's expected.
Fasting for the man's long life.
If the man dies, like, there has been like a concept of sati back in the day, like,
which is gone now.
But like it comes from the past. It comes from this man, the king,
the person who's taking care of everything, and he's the ultimate god.
Yes, and that's how, like,
it's very prevalent still till date, and when, like, because we come from a family which has been very supportive, at least our like, let's say our immediate family as well, but also, like, there have been conversations at the table where, one person comes from a different school of thought in politics, let's say, or also just in general, and when we voice a particular opinion about patriarchy, and I actually did call one of my uncles a chauvinist.
Yes.
And I remember the reaction was he got up from the table and he started shouting. His voice was like so high.
How dare you call me a chauvinist?
And I was just sitting at the table having my drink, and I'm like, don't talk to me this way. No one has the right to raise their voice to me. And who are you to raise your voice at me? And well, it was like a big...
And why did he call him a chauvinist?
That started with politics initially, and then it went on to, how I said how he actually treats his mother and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like, just a simple thing. The man has come home from work.
Mm.
And he's had a shower. He's come home from work, and he's like this god, okay? So he's come home and he's sitting and he has a shower, he sits at the table.
That's a very typical thing in India. This happens in most of the families, so don't be surprised if you see this happening again.
It's fine, I've seen it in my own family, so it's not something that I'm creating out of like a stereotype.
Extended family, no, even our family, of course.
Extended family, but family.
Also our family. Well, we haven't really seen our family together, mom and dad, so that's something we'll speak about that later, but anyways, we've seen that. Get me chapati.
Get me chapati.
Get me dahi.
Get me dahi. And even
Get me.
I'm
gonna get up.
He's sitting, he's doing, and the women I have seen, like my aunts, my cousins, like moving around the table, like, what does he need? What does he need? And I was just like, wow.
Because normally, like, it has been considered that, okay, the man is supposed to, like, bring in the money and take care of the family, and the woman is supposed to take care of maybe the kitchen or maybe like the children or anything. But that's something that is changing right now. Okay, women are taking care of the family. For example, in my family, only women take care of the family at the moment. Like, they are leading it. I mean, of course, there's men, but we are independent people, and there are many such women who are taking care of their own families. However, traditionally and even today in the modern Indian society or even in the modern culture, they're still expected to come back from work, and the man doesn't really share those responsibilities. That expectation is...
But that was not there even from in our family. Like, when mom and dad were living together, when we were living together, like,
no.
Papa never expected that from mom.
Like, for example, one of our business partner, Santi, was actually waiting outside.
Doesn't know we were recording a podcast and there's a match in like 1 hour and we're supposed to go, but whoops.
Just put that close over here. Yeah, so like our mother was here in Fuerteventura, and like, our dishwasher was not working, and so Santi would come up and he would be like, he would take the plates and be like, here, since you guys have cooked, let me just clean. And my mom would be like, no. How can we let you take our juta? Like, how can we let you touch? But it's not because he's a guest or anything. It's just because he's a man, And this is something that is traditionally inbuilt, and I really hope. I mean, I haven't been in India since the past 3 years, and I really hope that's changing, and that today's men who are educated, who are like watching all of this, who have a much more open-minded perspective, are changing these things. So yes, the chauvinist part is something that is very heavy. One of the reasons that I left India when I was 17 specifically is because I thought that my family is going to get me married before I'm 19.
Yeah.
Because that's true, because by the time I was 17, they were showing me like pictures of like families of, they wouldn't tell me about the man. I mean, basically in India, like when this whole system of arranged marriage is like official LinkedIn, but for getting like married in your culture, blah blah blah.
In your caste.
Yeah, and obviously, like, I mean, I saw like most of my family like doing that at 18, 19, like such young, beautiful, talented women. If their parents would have actually focused on sending them to university and telling them like, go ahead, build your career, instead of telling them go get married and build your life, because you need a man to build your life, you need children or else. I mean, I remember my first cousin, like, he used to tell me, if you won't get married, like get married fast, like your clock is ticking. Because if not, like your parents say,
तेरा क्या होगा?
तेरा क्या होगा? Because मोटे-मोटे लोग मिलेंगे. Like you get like your family gonna offer you like like old fat bald men. No, what? I mean today I can like pick who I want to get married from a bloody catalog. Like I don't want like people to like
or not get married.
Like we are not people exactly. We are not really. Well, we'll get to our belief and perspectives on marriage.
But I feel at your time was a little more stricter. Because when I think like because by the time like I was in school, like by the time I was like getting out of school, like things were slowly changing. At least in our family, like for you it was like since you're the firstborn, there was a lot of responsibility on you in the sense like you like our mom still wants to see you married and wants to see all of that is still there.
Yeah.
But like now it's lessened, like it's gradually like, and to me she's like, Teko jo karna hai kar.
Of course.
What you want to do, but you you have to get married. Like for me, she's like do what you want to do, but you there's some sort of an expectation from the firstborn. I'd say like still.
Yeah. I mean, then comes this, but I think that happens in most of these like heavily how do I say, like so emotional drama which comes trust me, like we all watch a lot of, I mean we don't, but we used to, but like as India, like we watch a lot of Hindi movies and a lot of it gets carried away into the life.
I love
a lot of drama gets carried away into the life, which people don't even realize, but anyways.
I mean I love watching it for, I mean I have, whenever I watch it I just love watching it to just watch it and then just be like amazed at what is going on, like it's a no-brainer for me. And now slowly things are changing in Bollywood, but that's a whole different episode altogether.
Yes, no, it's actually a part of one of the things that we don't like in India. It's Bollywood as well. We have to be very open about Bollywood.
I hate Bollywood. I think it is such a bad representation of what India is, of what Indian culture is. And I think there is They try, but they try and they copy, and it's okay, like like copying and getting inspired is the best thing. But what I feel like the representation that they do, I mean sure there are films that you'd say that are doing good or whatever, but I feel like the representation is so important. And when they are representing a whole country and they're still showing the same thing.
Can somebody just explain to me, like in all this 2 billion population, how can we not come up with one good movie that the world loves? And why does it one movie has to be like once in 20 years and have to be about the slums, has to be about the poverty, has to be about some quote unquote white or colored guy coming and like
crime.
Can we just
guns.
Or about Maharajas? Can we? I mean, and if not, then comes to like all this male culture of showing them as heroes and women dancing around them. I mean, come on, this is so embarrassing. It's cringe. It's cringe. Everyone, like they have, all these people have a following of 83, 50, 60, 70 million. And look at the country. Look at the impact that they can have. But Bollywood has just become such a bad representation that I just feel that, I don't know. I don't want to relate myself to that genre.
Movies back in the day, like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, were simple and they were so better than what they're creating right now. Because I feel what is the problem with India at this point is, at least with the industry also I'd say, is this confusion of identity. If we are showing India, what India are we showing? We also have to show a little Western. We also have to show this balance that we kiss now on screen.
Yeah.
We show sex scenes on the screen. But then all of this is great. But in all of this there is no identity of what is an Indian movie. What is the side? What is going on? There's still I mean it's nice, it's great that the Indian movies back in the day were always are very musicals. They're all musicals, and whenever you're falling in love, you're singing. When you're sad, you're singing. It's great booster for the industry and for the music industry as well. But in all of this, I feel like there's this confused sort of storyline, which is no storyline.
Yeah, and most of the films that are like these big success films, like I don't even know how many people actually like.
But but that's also, sorry to cut you with it, but that's also because a lot of masses like that?
Yeah.
You know, that is another question altogether, because the masses want to see something. In India, like, you know, at least the majority of the population is struggling, and they are constantly struggling, and they are constantly like trying to make ends meet. So at the end of the day, they don't want to look at a stupid arty movie. They just want to look at something that makes them laugh, makes them happy, can look at a song and make them feel a little lighter, which I understand. You know, which is the market in India, which is basically what Indian movies are making for the masses, because that is what rules the box
Because
office.
that's what they have believed and that's what they have shown. Like, they have not. Well, entertainment can be many other forms as well. But like, the conclusion is that Bollywood really needs to wake up a little bit and come up with some solid scripts, and not about, like, I don't know, whatever I've seen. There's not a single movie that I have shown even people over here and spoken about, and like.
I like Rangila.
I like Ravila.
I think that was my favorite movie, you know, because that was like the 90s, like, you know, they'd shown the woman like breaking out and like, you know, being so free in her sexuality, being so free with her choices as well in terms of career and everything. And the songs were nice.
Yes. Well, if anybody knows any good Indian movies that really are really nice, and I mean, I'm going to judge you whoever comments on with these movies after I watch them, so please let me know if you actually can recommend something good that has come on in the past 3 years, because I haven't really watched something solid. Like, I watched Gangubai and it was really bad. It was really very bad, and it was really I don't know. I mean, the story was really strong, but it was not a great movie, sadly.
I don't know what happens, you know, like they pick good scripts and then suddenly in between, like they are tripping, or I don't know what.
They like to glorify. The thing is, in India, what happens is, like, you know, most of the people in the film industry are people from, like, who come from these families.
You've worked in the film industry for like.
Yeah, I worked as an executive producer. I worked in like many other things, and I'm telling you, like, people who are there in the film industry, like, at least a majority of them are from families, and the bigger meteor roles go to these people, and the ones who come from, like, not these families, it's a little difficult for them to get access.
Yeah.
However, so what happens is, even if you have a very humble script of a woman who's come down from somewhere and like worked her way, being a prostitute, which is this Gangubai, which is a story. They could have actually casted someone who has lived that, who has that harshness on the face, but then they end up picking up someone who is.
That's the safe choices, you know. They're like who fits in, who can get the crowd moving.
That's what I think. Yeah.
That's again the same thing, you know. The movie they made on a Dalit politician, and they casted someone who's not a Dalit. So it's again like going back to square one.
Yes.
You know, you're showing an upper class woman play a Dalit woman.
Yes.
And then again, where is the screen? Where are these roles being given? Where is the representation of these communities on your screen? Yeah, you look at the diversity on Indian films. In Indian films, it's zero. So that is another thing. Like, you know, where is the diversity chart? You know, you are only showing upper class actors, upper class actresses coming from great families, having like a great, you know, standard of living and coming into movies. Where are the roles for people who come from small towns? Where are the roles?
No, there are roles of people who come from small towns, but it has to be done by this big superstar.
Exactly.
And that's what is so different in other places as well. You know, I mean, in different film industries, well, they cast people based on not their their foot in the premier family of film industry, but what the role actually demands. So, well, Bollywood is one of the things, and yeah, I mean, we could go on this list about complaining about India. The reasons that we're complaining about India is because we love India.
Yeah.
It's because we love India so much that it really hurts. It troubles us to see the country which has such great values. I mean, look at our scriptures, look at our culture, look at all that we have in our temples, look at all that which yoga has done for the world. Like, every second person is like learning yoga. Why? They robbed away a huge chunk of wealth. Wealth from the country. And I really don't understand, like, the British. I don't even understand the Queen of England. Like, how can she have the audacity of having the Kohinoor diamond, which they actually robbed, and like calling it their own, because Kohinoor is
If you go to the museum, like everything is filled with like stuff that is from India, like jewels or whatever.
Yeah, and I think what really happened during that time is that not only did the Brits come and rule and like screw the country, okay, with they filled in a lot of. India was a very open-minded country. The Brits, as the orthodox they are, and the culture that was there.
Yeah,
they came. They changed contracts. They saw women with like Kama Sutra poses, and they were like, oh my god, like the women were like scarred. They're like, okay, women with tits moving around. What is this kind of culture? They banned it to like make it as orthodox as they are. And they just squeezed the beauty out of the culture. But the thing is that went on for about 150. How many years was British ruling India? I don't even know that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but like also that, like all these temple dancers, which are like back in the day, Devdasis.
Yeah.
Sorry. And like the Devdasi dancers were like dancers of the temple. They had dedicated their lives to God. Okay, so they were these dancers who were like trained from the girls who were trained at a very young age. And they were sort of given to the temple to dedicate their lives to God, and where they were going to be performing the dance. And at that point, I correct me if I'm wrong, if that was Bharatanatyam that they were doing. I'm not sure. Yeah. So anyways, the dance or Kathak, I don't know, either or.
I'm not sure.
So when these dances were being performed, the costumes that the women were wearing, or what they were dressed as in the south of India was very beautiful. It was very sexual. It was very liberal, with the blouses and the whole navel being shown. And then when the British women would see them, but the British women who were in India, they were like in these tight corsets where they couldn't even breathe.
Yes.
So they would look at these liberal Indian women like going for it, like being free. And then that is when they wanted to ban they banned the dances, and the whole temple dances were like banned.
But still, I mean, right now India has such a brilliant. We are one of the youngest countries, and trust me, like. Whatever is the bad thing about India, like today's the youth, the young generation is way forward, is way open-minded, and trust me, they're much more open-minded and forward in
adept to the ways of how a society or a modern world works.
Exactly.
Because, whenever we meet someone new, they're like, oh, where are you from? Oh la la, like like nice name, different name. Nice hand movement, and like, would you come from India? But like, how come you come from India, and how are you like this? Or I'm like, well, how am I like this? What does that even mean?
Yeah.
So it's this whole misconception about the youth of India that people have. They still think like, everyone is a good chunk of like brilliant engineers and doctors do come from India, and I'm so grateful for that. But not everyone is an engineer, not everyone is a doctor, not everyone is stuck in, I don't know, this whole in this definition of how a young Indian woman or a young Indian man is supposed to.
Yes.
I will speak for the women. I can't speak about the Indian men because I don't want to get into that.
We'll get onto that in one of the episodes for sure. But what she's trying to say is like India has everything. However, India collectively, she suffers from this collective suppression that comes with the burden of tradition. The burden of tradition, the burden of culture, the burden of expectations that come from you, from where you come from where your roots are, from what your caste is, from what your surname is, from what your economic background is.
When you can just let her be. Just let her be, let her explore, let her be, and just look at what levels she can reach if you remove these hindrances, these blockages, these stones,
these societal forcing
norms that's like peddled onto you. Like if you remove that, you see like India as a nation would be so much more free than it already was or is.
Exactly. So with this episode, what we really want to say is that if you're from India and if you're watching this, please let's be representatives of our country, who inspire other people, who break these norms, break these stereotypes, have the courage to respond to, be it our parents, have the courage to inspire them, have the courage to show people,
have the courage to take your choices. You wanna not study engineering, don't study engineering.
You don't want to get married, don't get married. You don't have children, don't have children.
You don't want to put Karvachauth ka vrat babe, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. You wanna explore your sexuality, go for it.
Exactly.
You know, you wanna do anything, just go for it. Because till the time you don't break that chain, it's gonna keep on going on and on and on and on and on. And then, you know, then this whole stereotype against India is just gonna keep on building, and she will not have any space to breathe, which she already does not have.
Exactly. This is our message for the people from India and those who are not from India and who are watching this podcast as well. We want to know that although we've criticized a little bit our country, we are passionate souls from India, and the reason that we want to communicate this is because of the different representations of our country that has been come across, be it in films, be it in like people asking like, do you have electricity, do you have cars, do you have this,
internet,
do you have internet,
how do you speak English?
Yeah, like where do you even learn from, or and don't you shake your head, why don't you shake your head, and do this color. So we just want to let you know that India is a very diverse country. We have loads of beautiful people, we have loads of beautiful languages, we have some beautiful culture.
That it's a very every region, every state has almost a different language. Like if we go to the south, the good part about India is like most of the people do speak English.
Yes.
But if you go to some parts where, you know, if they don't speak English, you know, like I said, if I go to South, I will not understand what they say because they speak a completely different language than what I do. And that's exactly what I love, you know, to be in a country where there are 3 different languages that are being spoken.
Well, 3 or 30. We know maybe 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
You know. But that's what we want to say, that if you're not from India and if you're watching this podcast, like, know the diversity of India, and the next time that you meet someone from India, know that don't go against any stereotypes, no stereotypes at all. I'm going to repeat that.
I think go ahead with your stereotypes.
So that's us for today. It's our first episode of the Krishnani Sisters. You will get to know us a little more. We have so much to share with you. We have such great news coming for people in India, for Indians across the world, to be these proud Indians as well, and represent our country as we really should be, to inspire. So here we are, signing off.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.